Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca, and I'm so excited to be here and have the opportunity to help you learn a little bit more about Concourse. So today, I'm going to be introducing our Global Match program, and I'll be helping you each create and complete your student profile. Global Match is a completely unique program that's really going to help you maximize your university options. It's efficient, it's effective, and it's going to change the way that you receive your university acceptances. So let's get started. Here at Concourse, we've taken a long look at the traditional university application process. We've spent a lot of time talking to students and really learning how this process impacts you. So we've asked students to describe the traditional application process, and these are some of the most common answers. So let's see if any of these resonate with you guys. Overwhelming. So between researching, building your list, compiling documents, and completing application after application, applying to university can be really overwhelming to even the most organized student. Figuring out what to study, where to study, how to apply, there's so much to consider. And with thousands of universities, it can really feel like there's too much information to sift through. Stressful. So given the massive amount of work that's involved, of course, this process is stressful. For so many students, gaining admission to a university is going to be a huge milestone, and it's a really big transition. So there's a tremendous amount of anxiety associated with the process. Worrying about forgetting a document or not applying to enough schools or the right schools can feel really scary and stressful. And time consuming. So studies have actually shown that on average, it takes 5 to 10 hours to complete a single university application. Students spend weeks sifting through several drafts of their essay and compiling documents. During a time in your education when your classes are more demanding than ever, the traditional university application process really takes time away from your studies. So now let's talk about how Concourse offers a completely different, more student-centric approach. The beauty of Concourse and our Global Match program is that it is not an application. You do not come to Concourse to apply to universities. Instead, we've built a program that flips the traditional university application process, allowing universities to apply to you. So universities can see your profile, they can send you offers of admission and scholarships without applications or without supplemental documents. I know this might sound too good to be true, but by the end of this session, you guys are going to know exactly how the platform works, and you'll be well on your way to receiving university offers. So Concourse works with over 100 universities around the world in some of the countries and regions that you see here. We work with a huge range of institutions, from global top 100 universities to liberal arts colleges, state schools, public schools, private schools, art schools, pretty much anything you can think of, we have some options for you. So by participating on Concourse, you're allowing these institutions to pursue you, and that is how you're going to maximize your university options. Concourse has worked for thousands of students around the world. Since we launched our Global Match program in 2020, the platform has brought over 17,000 offers of admission to students in over 90 countries. Those offers also came with over 700 million US dollars in scholarships. So now that we know a little bit more about the universities and the value, let's talk about the process. The process is very simple. In order to participate in Global Match, all you need to do is create your Concourse student profile, which we're going to do together in just a moment. It only takes 20 to 30 minutes, and it's super simple. Your profile is going to include information about your grades, your interests, and your budget. Once your profile is complete, you'll be submitting it to your counselor for certification. And next is when the magic happens. After your profile has been certified, a version of your profile becomes visible to universities who are able to send you direct offers of admission and scholarship. We have Global Match events every month. So every month, universities are logging in and sending offers. Students can participate in as many Global Match sessions as you would like throughout your final year of secondary. So you guys are going to be able to receive these offers, and you'll be able to respond to the offers. So as you can see, it's a completely flipped system that allows you to be pursued by some amazing institutions and respond to the offers that you like. So the process is super easy. It's very student-centric, but there are a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind. The first is, I mentioned earlier, universities see a version of your student profile. The version that they see is anonymous. So they can see all the information that they need to make an admission decision, but they don't have access to your contact information, no access to full names, email addresses, permanent address, nothing like that. We know that you guys are already likely getting a lot of spam marketing from universities, and we don't want to participate in that. So we've made it so that there's no way for any university to contact you off of Concourse. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but this anonymity is why it's super important that you respond to the offers that you get. So one of my favorite parts of the program is that you will only hear from universities that are offering admission. There are no rejections or denials on Concourse. Remember, this is not an application platform, it's an admission platform. And the third thing to keep in mind is that students do not commit to universities on Concourse. You can respond to offers, which we'll talk about, but responding is not committing. Students can receive offers on Concourse and continue applying to other universities as well. And you're not under any obligation to enroll at a university that has offered you admission on Concourse. Okay, so let's get started. You will use the link that your counselor has provided. This is a personalized link that is going to connect you to your school. So I'm actually going to make my profile here along with you. All right. When you click on your link that your counselor has provided, it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. So you'll go ahead and enter your email address. Your counselor might have a preference as to whether you use your school email or your personal email, but keep in mind whichever one you use, make sure it's one that you're checking regularly, because this is where admission offers are going to come. So you'll enter your email and you'll click Start Using Concourse. It'll ask you to set a password, and then you'll create your account. So the first thing you'll see is our terms of service. This is essentially outlining what I told you before, that we will never sell your data and we will not share data with any university. It is completely up to you when and if you share your data with a university. So it's going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. You'll enter your first name, your last name, and if you use that personalized link, then your high school should already come up here. I'm going to go ahead and add Concourse High School. And then you'll click Next. So this is going to bring you to a page that looks like this. What we're going to do together today is walk through the first 4 sections of the About You profile. The 5th section, Initial View, you guys can ignore that for now. We're not going to be using that. So we'll go through the first 4 sections, but I just want to touch on a little bit about what these other sections mean. So in order for a university to review a profile on Concourse, you will need to upload 3 years of grades. You can do this in a couple of ways. The first is you can find your curriculum and you can add it manually. So you will need to input every class and every grade from grades 9, 10, and 11. The second way that you can do this is by clicking into My Documents, and you have the option of adding a transcript. So your counselor may do this for you. They will let you know what they prefer you to do as you're building your profile, but we remember that we will need 3 years of academic grades. The other 2 sections down here are for language certifications and other certifications. We know that when you're applying to a university, you're trying really hard to fit yourself into that box, the right GPA, the right documents, the right SAT score. On Concourse, we just want you to come with what you have. We don't want you to worry about what you don't have. So if you have a language certification and you'd like to add it to your profile, feel free. It's not required. If you are taking the SAT or you have taken it, you can go ahead and add that in here as well. If you have taken the SAT and you didn't like your score, you don't have to add it. It's up to you, and it's up to what you want universities to see when they're reviewing your profile. Okay, so let's get started. The first section we're going to go through is the basics. You'll see this orange button here that says finish. You'll click right here, and you'll see we started filling this out when we created our profile, right? So it's going to ask you your gender. We have a lot of inclusive options, and you're also welcome to choose not to say. It'll ask your date of birth. And if you guys are really quick at math, you'll be able to see how old I am when I put my birthday in here. And it's going to ask the month and year that you graduate high school. So depending on where you are, it could be May of 23, it could be December of 22, it could be June of 23. So whichever month and year you will be graduating, go ahead and list that here. When you finish, you just click save. And we've already finished the first section. I told you guys it was super simple, right? So the second section we're going to do is regions and languages. The first thing you'll fill out is your passport. If you have dual citizenship, please list both citizenships here. Additionally, if you have permanent residence in any other country, you're welcome to list that here as well. It will ask what languages you speak. And this last question is really important. It's saying, which countries or regions are you considering for your university education? This question is a really great way for you guys to kind of explore what might be out there. So if you list Canada, and that's the only country that you list in this section, you will only be reviewed by universities in Canada. If you list only the UK, you will only be reviewed by universities in the UK. If you are open to other countries, I highly recommend that you keep it broad here or list out any country that you might be open to if a great offer comes through. I know a lot of students sometimes want to just focus on applying to the US and Canada, but they might be open to an offer that comes from the UK if it comes this easily, right? And if you don't have to figure out the UCAS system and figure out a whole nother application process. So if you're open to that, go ahead and list any country or any region that you would be open to studying if a good offer came through. You can also choose anywhere, which would put no restrictions on your profile. You could be reviewed potentially by every university around the world that we partner with. So you're welcome to choose whichever regions or countries that you are interested in. Another question that I often get is, can you update your profile? So the answer is yes. If you choose the United States and Canada first, and you go through and get a couple months of offers, and then you think you really want to see what maybe Europe has to offer, what universities in the UK have to offer, you can come in and update this as well. So once you finish that, we are halfway done with the About You section. So we're going to move on to preferences. We deliberately made these questions very simple. We're not trying to trick you. These are very straightforward questions that should be relatively easy for you to answer. So the first one, any classes that you like? Simple as that. When I was in school, I really liked psychology. I liked geography. I had a great Spanish teacher, so I loved that class. You can list as many or as few as you like. The next question, are there any classes that you dislike? So when I was in school, I was and still am pretty bad at math. So algebra was not my greatest class, and I didn't enjoy it very much. This could look very different for you. Again, you can list as many classes or as few classes as you want. So moving down, it'll ask you to list your extracurricular activities. This is anything that you do that's outside of the classroom, but still related to academics. So for example, you could be part of the Model UN. You could play on your school basketball team. You could be a member of student council. All of these things are still related to school, but they're done outside of the classroom. The next question is listing all of your activities outside of school. So this is going to be anything that you do in your spare time. This could be a part-time job. It could be any hobbies that you have, any volunteering that you do. It could be caring for your younger siblings. Anything that you spend time doing outside of school, you can list here. So when I was in school, I worked part-time as a restaurant. I also read a lot of books. I liked playing video games with my friends. So whatever it is you like to do outside of school, go ahead and list that here. And the last question is, what is your dream job? It is totally okay if you do not know. And whatever you write in here is not going to restrict you to what you can study in university. But if you have a dream job, go ahead and list it. I've seen students list everything from play in the NBA as a professional basketball player to becoming a pastry chef, to being a CEO of a company, to running a school. Anything that you think is your dream job, go ahead and write it here. And once you're finished with that, you'll click Save, and we finished the third section. So let's move on to the last section. It's going to be search criteria. So here we're asking, what is the university program that you're most interested in studying? Again, this is not going to restrict you as to what you can study in university, but whichever one most aligns with what you're most interested in, go ahead and click that here. Underneath, it has the option of listing any additional programs that you want to study. So when I was in school, I was interested in a lot of different things. It wasn't just international studies. I really liked psychology. I thought maybe I would go into communication. If I could spell that right, that would be great. I loved Spanish. I loved learning languages. So you can list as many additional programs as you would like to study here. This just helps universities get a better understanding of what you're interested in. That way, when you start to get offers, universities can suggest programs that they have that might align with what you're interested in. So the next step is just going to be a ranking. It's just asking what is most important to you. So 1 is going to be most important, 5 is going to be least important. Yours might look very different from mine. I'm going to fill it out the best to mine. But feel free to fill it out for whatever is best for you. So when I was in school, cost was number 1 for me. Academics, I wanted to make sure they had something I wanted to study. And I would probably put extracurricular activities last. Again, mine might look very different from yours. The next few questions are asking what you want your university experience to be like, or if you have a preference. So, would you prefer to go to school in a traditional college campus or an urban environment? Traditional college campus is kind of what you see in the movies. So you'll see people on a big green field throwing a frisbee, hanging out on campus. An urban environment is going to be in the middle of a pretty big city. And you might have classes that are inside of buildings that also house other businesses. They aren't necessarily only university buildings. If you're open to both or you don't have a preference, you're welcome to click that as well. Do you prefer the idea of a smaller or larger college or university campus? Again, this is completely your preference. Smaller campus would be fewer than 10,000 students, larger campus, more than 10,000 students. Or if you're open to anything and you don't have a preference, you can list that as well. So for the last 2 questions, this is what is your maximum annual budget for tuition and living expenses? We've listed some ranges here. If you haven't had this conversation with your parents yet, I highly recommend that you do. It's important to have that conversation so that you know what kind of school, at what kind of price point you're looking at. We do have an option for don't know. The only risk that's associated with that I will warn you about is if you put don't know, then you could potentially get some offers that end up being outside of your budget. So I highly encourage you have this conversation with your parents and click whichever one is best for you. And the final question asks if you've applied to any universities. So this is for if you've already applied to a university or if you are planning to apply directly to a university. No university will see your answers here. This is strictly for us and our team here at Concourse. We want to make sure that if you've applied to a university that we partner with, that we don't have them reviewing you twice as an anonymous student. So we just want to make sure that we're aware and cognizant of everyone's time. If you want to apply to a university, we highly recommend that you do. Spend time applying to that university, but we will not have them review you twice, if that makes sense. So once we finish with that, you'll click Save. And then you guys have finished creating your profile for now. Remember, you'll still need to add your grades in here. You're welcome to add any language certifications, other certifications that you have, but it is not a requirement. I told you guys the process was really simple, so I hope that you believe I was telling the truth. I hope that wasn't too difficult for you guys. So I'm actually going to go back and we're going to talk a little bit about what an offer is going to look like. So let's look at the anatomy of an offer. When you begin receiving university offers, you will get an email notification. You can also download our free smartphone app, which is available in the App Store and Google Play. And if you do that, then you'll get a push notification on your phone. You'll find your offers in the Conversations tab on your profile. There will be a school overview that's visible to you along with your offer to give you guys some more information about the institution that's offering you admission. So as I mentioned before, some of these schools might be really new options for you guys. You may have never considered applying to them. You may have never heard of them. So this overview is going to help you get a better understanding of the university. So let's look at the offer itself. Universities can include program information in your offer. So this is something really cool too about Global Match is that universities are going to read your full profile, what we were just filling out, and they can offer you admission to several programs that are a good fit for you based on what you wrote in your profile. If there are any conditions like achieving a minimum score or maintaining a certain GPA, those will also be listed in the offer. So universities often award scholarships with the admission offers as well. There are two types of scholarships that can be awarded. One is guaranteed and one is not guaranteed. So when a scholarship is guaranteed, it means that there are no additional steps you need to take to secure it. If you enroll in the university, you'll automatically receive that scholarship. For not guaranteed scholarships, there is an additional step. It could be something like an essay, an audition, or an application in order to receive the scholarship. And these tend to be a little bit more competitive. With every offer that you receive, a chat box is going to open between you and the university. This is where you can ask questions and learn more. Keep in mind that there are real university representatives on the other end of this conversation. It is not a chatbot, so please be kind when you're speaking to them, but feel free to ask any questions and try to evaluate whether that university might be a good fit for you. So before we talk about responding offers, I want to quickly tell you about your Concourse mentor. This is also not a chatbot. It is a Concourse team member. They are there to answer your questions and provide support while you're on Concourse. So they might send you a note if they see that there's something that you need to do on your profile. So keep an eye on that chat and be sure to be responsive. Okay, the next piece is super, super important. We're going to talk about responding to your offers. Remember, when a university sends you an offer, you are still anonymous to them. They don't know your name or any contact details. With every offer that you receive, you have the option to respond and indicate whether you're interested or not interested. We have the expectation that you will respond to each offer you receive. So let's talk about what those responses mean. If you get an offer that you know that you're not interested in, you're not going to pursue it, you don't want it as one of your options, you should be letting universities know that you are not interested. Clicking not interested will allow universities to release that spot and spend their time and resources on other students. If you are interested, if you want this offer as one of your options when you're looking at all of your university offers, you have to click interested. Clicking interested is the important step that de-anonymizes your profile. Keep in mind that this is not a commitment. So you could get as many offers as you do on Concourse. You can click interested in all of those offers. But it is super, super important that you click interested because that's going to be the step that lets you get an official offer letter. So at this point that the university is making an offer, they still don't know who you are. If you don't respond to that, if you don't click interested, the university has no idea who to make the offer letter out to. They can't technically admit you in their system because they don't even know your name. So it's so important that you click interested and release that information to the university. So a few things to remember. 1, you must respond to each offer. Please don't ghost. 2, offers can expire if you don't respond. Typically, they'll expire after about 2 months. And if you haven't clicked interested, then that offer's gone. Remember that responding is not committing, but it is required to receive your official offer letter. And also, you might be asked to provide academic documents to the universities that you're interested in. So anything like official transcripts at the end of the year, you will be required to submit those to universities as well. So I hope that everything has been clear today. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited to see what offers are going to come through for you guys, and I think you're going to be super pleased with the outcome. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your counselor, reach out to your Concourse mentor. We are here to support you, and good luck.